Hi everyone! Today we're going to talk a little bit about sound energy, practice some scientific inquiry, and get ready for a really fun STEM challenge. Now, if you had a chance to make the pan flute last week, I gave you a question to see if you could determine how the length of the straw affects the pitch that is made when you blow through it. So the really long straw made a low pitch sound. The really short straw made a really high pitch sound. So today we're going to do a few demonstrations to see a little bit more about sound energy and see if we can come up with some good definitions. So to start with, I'm going to give you guys a chance to read the definition on your own first. And I'll read it to you. Sound energy is made when force acts on an object, making it vibrate. So, a quick demonstration of that is my glass object. The force that I'm going to use is the fork. I'm going to ding it. Right now it makes no sound at all, but as soon as I use my force to connect those two things, you will hear that sound. Pretty cool. And actually this fork gives it a little bit longer of a vibration. You can hear it. It's a little bit bigger of a fork. So we talked about what sound is, and when we're talking about sound energy, there are a few things that we like to consider. So when you are working with sound energy, pitch is the word we use when we're talking about how high or low a sound is. So for example, we made this sound with just a fork and just a glass, but if I change my object, like by adding water, so we can get this just right, I can actually change my pitch. Quick demonstration of that. Changing the amount of water I have in each glass changes the sound and the pitch made. This one a little less. Perfect. I'm going to make sure that they're not touching so that my vibrations aren't changed at all. Now this was my original one, middle, highest, or lowest. So I hear my 3 different pitches. I can also change my volume, which is how quiet or how loud a sound is. And volume is measured in something called decibels. So by using a softer force like this, I can have a quieter sound. If I use a stronger force like this, I can have a louder sound. And the last word that I want us to bring our attention to is beat. So beat is a fast or slow pattern of sounds to make a song. So taking my 3 different levels of water, really, that one needs a teeny bit more. I drank too much. And following a pattern, I can create my own song. And you can have some fun with this activity on your own if you want to. By changing the amount of water, I played around with a couple different levels to find some sounds that I liked, but you can make a totally different song. Now it sounds pretty similar, but you can make a totally different song by changing the amount of level in your glasses. But you guys will notice that I did keep the glass the same. If I were comparing 2 different glasses, both without water, the shape of my glass is also going to have an effect on my sound. So your challenge for this week, keeping in mind those words that we just talked about, pitch, volume, beat, and also what sound energy is, your challenge this week looks like this. And it is to use what you know about sound energy to design a musical instrument. The instrument must make at least 3 different pitches and have volume control. So keeping in mind that is our challenge, part of the engineering process is to ask questions, determine what you're allowed to do and what limits you have on your project. So first of all, your criteria is that your instrument must make sound through vibration. It can't be like an automated toy. It must generate at least 3 different pitches. So you guys saw me generate 3 different pitches just with water and glasses, but I'm excited to see how you guys solve that problem. And you must be able to control the volume. So that could be as simple as how hard you're hitting, or it could be something a little more complex. That's up to you. So your constraints, you can only use materials you have around the house with your parents' permission. Please don't go make your parents buy things, and also don't use anything that your parents might not be happy about. And you must have it ready to share with our class for our next Zoom session coming this week. So, keeping those criteria in mind, there are a couple kinds of instruments we can work on. So, earlier this week, you guys created a woodwind instrument. So a woodwind instrument is an instrument that is played by blowing into or across one end. Here are a few examples. Our pan flute is an example of a woodwind instrument. When you blow air over the pan flute, the vibration, the air goes in, vibrates, and makes the sound. So the more space you have, the slower the vibration and the lower the pitch. This last one is really hard to get sometimes. So my air is blowing across. As it does that, it creates vibrations through the tube and out. And my shortest tube, the vibrations have less space to go through, so it creates a higher pitch. So some examples of woodwind instruments that you guys can create are like a recorder. You might see a brother or a sister working on a recorder. A pan flute. Some other examples are on here as well. So those are woodwind instruments. Another kind of instrument that you might want to consider is a string instrument. A string instrument is played by either plucking or running a bow across the set of strings. By plucking or pushing, rubbing or hitting those strings, you're creating that vibration. The vibration is in turn making those sound waves. So an example of that kind of instrument, I was having some fun with cardboard and rubber bands because we haven't been going to the store. So I only use 3 different kinds of rubber bands, and I'm still playing with the different lengths of rubber bands and sizes. But for example, these 2 are the same rubber band, these 2 are the same rubber band, and these 2 are the same rubber band. They're just cut and stretched in different ways. So listening to those sounds, and you can actually see the vibrations if you look closely. I have my highest sound here. Did you guys see that vibration? And I'll do that one again. See how slow that vibration was and how low that pitch was? So I'm having some fun just stretching and changing those sounds. I'll give you a quick demonstration of that. There's the sound. But if I just take it and stretch it, it makes an entirely different pitch. So that is an idea for string instrument, or at least a start to thinking about that. But I'm still doing a lot more changes on mine. And the last kind of instrument you might want to consider would be a percussion instrument. So percussion instruments could be like drums or maracas or a xylophone. And a percussion instrument is played by striking the object with a hand or a stick. For example, a drum is a really great example of that, which wouldn't be too hard to create. But the challenge there would be, how are you going to make multiple different pitches on one drum? I think the volume would be easier to control, but pitch, that might be a different story. You might have to make a series of drums and find some different ways to change the pitch. So, a quick little percussion demonstration I want to show you guys. I'm going to turn the camera this way. It's a little weird having my kitchen be a classroom. I'm going to turn you guys this way. And over here, I want to show you guys a few different kinds of pitches you can make with just a few different materials. So I don't have any rice or any beans in my house, but I do have a lot of sprinkles. So I have some eyeball sprinkles, and these are pretty big, pretty hard. I have some star sprinkles, which are smaller than the eyeballs, but still pretty big and hard. I have teeny tiny little ball sprinkles, and then I have just colored sugar, so a much finer, smaller material. I also have 3 different kinds or different sizes of Easter eggs. This is a really fun thing to work with at home. If you don't have Easter eggs, you could also do just like 3 different size containers. But I want to show you guys how the size of a material, I guess how much space it has to move, as well as a material inside, can affect the pitch and the sound that it makes. So we're going to start with the eyeballs. I'm going to do 1 teaspoon to keep it consistent. And I'm going to put it in my large egg and my medium egg. I also put tape on there so I didn't get sprinkles all over my kitchen, because I don't like that. Alright, a teaspoon of eyeballs in the middle guy, and a teaspoon of eyeballs in the baby guy. There we go, that's about right. Didn't want to come out. Okay, before I shake them, can you guys make some predictions on which ones you think are going to be higher and lower pitches? All right, let's check it out. Ready? So we have the biggest egg, okay, the middle egg, and the smallest egg. I'll do that one more time. So to me, it seems like the highest pitch is in the biggest egg, the medium pitch is in the middle egg, and the lowest pitch is in the smallest egg. So that was my largest material, but I also want you guys to hear how it changes just by changing my material. So I'm going to keep it consistent with the big egg this time, just so you guys can have time to do this on your own. I'm going to do the stars. Ready? So a much higher pitch with the smaller item. These sprinkles. Oh, I like that sound. And last but not least, colored sugar. Much quieter sound when we're talking about volume, but very different sound even though I use the same amount of every object and the same egg. So those are just some things to consider while you guys are working on your instrument. You guys you don't have to print this out. You're welcome to work just in a journal or record yourself while you're working through the engineering design process. But after you imagine those possibilities, so if you want to do a string instrument or a percussion instrument or a woodwind instrument or a mix of something or something that's completely new, decide what you want to do and circle it. Once you circle that, you're going to draw your design. You're going to make your plan. So you guys know that good engineers don't just draw a picture. They add details, they add labels so that when you're going to follow that design and create your instrument, it's easy to follow because you've already thought through those steps. Recording what materials you're going to need, materials that are already in your house. And then after your plan is done, follow it, create it, and give it a try. Try out that instrument, make sure that it can make those different pitches. And just like with any engineering design challenge, we're never really done. That was just my first prototype for my string instrument, my cardboard guitar. But I'm going to go back and I'm going to improve it because I really want to be able to make an actual song. So I'm going to create a new plan and keep improving my instrument until it's something that I'm really, really happy with. So yeah, I am so excited to see what you guys come up with. Just a quick review. Remembering that sound energy is made when a force acts on an object and makes it vibrate. So all of these instruments that you're making, you are creating sound energy because of your force acting on that object and creating those vibrations and making those sound waves. Vibrations are sound waves. While you're working on your instrument, remembering that pitch is how high and how low a sound is, and how pitch is directly related to the speed of the vibrations. Fast vibrations are high-pitched sounds, and slow vibrations result in low-pitched sounds. Volume is how quiet or how loud the sound is that you're making, and beat is a fast or slow pattern of sounds that come together and make a song. So have fun, engineers. Miss you all so much, and I will see you soon.